So when I was 13, one of the reasons I started my business was because you needed to be 14 to work in the businesses around our area. And I wanted to make money now. So I was just like, I'm going to go pass out flyers and go do it myself.
Good on you. It's like people are like, oh, there'll be plenty of time for them go into the business world. They should enjoy being a kid. But like, if you want to be a professional hockey player, professional football, you want to perform at an elite level, you better start when you're young. Like I started when I was 10, shining shoes at Ralph's barber shop.
Okay.
And then same thing, by the time I was like 18, it's like if you started practicing football or hockey or whatever it is, when you were 10, by the time you were 18 and people were like, soft people are now like, oh yeah, I want to play professional. You're going to whoop them.
Right.
You're just going to whoop them.
Yes. Because as you know, being in business, I feel like my skills compound every single year. And it's like, I'm blessed that I did start when I did. Because now, like you said, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of people that, I get DMs all day like, hey, I want to start a business. I want to do this. And it's just, the main thing is just starting. Just get started.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I liked what you did. Instead of like a lot of people, if they get cash, they'll just go buy a car. Like I went to the Wharton School at University of Pennsylvania. I learned a couple of things that I remember. One of them was this guy, I think he invented the wipes, the baby wipes.
Okay.
He's like, I had to design a hole.
That was it.
I made millions. He said, look, you're all going to be super successful pretty early on. He says, don't buy the Ferrari.
Right.
Do not buy the Ferrari. Save that money, because the fact that you didn't have to borrow all the money to do this, that you didn't blow it, which I'm sure you've seen your buddies do, right?
Yes.
They've had success. They blew it, debt. They have no borrowing power to invest in a business. And they'll go out and they'll buy the most expensive house they can, and now your borrowing power is down to zero,
yes.
right? It's super important thing that you just said. Super important, right?
Yes. Reinvesting, especially in the first 3 to 5 years, was huge in my company, especially if you're in a capital intensive business. You need to know that like if you're going to grow and expand, you need to hold your cash, and just even if it's just buying like the right type of work truck versus buying the house, like you said, and now your debt to income ratio is too maxed out that you can't go and get, more trucks or whatever it is. Just be strategic with your reinvestment.
Right. And here's the thing, and this is what I did, is I did the same thing, right? So I lived like a pauper. Like I drove like a Golf. I was making really good. I found out I was at a dinner party the other night, and everyone was talking about what they made. And these are all super successful people, lawyers and this and that. And they were like, let's go around the table and talk about, that's how they talk. I don't know. It's weird. Tell us the first job that you had out of college and how much you made. And everybody was like this and this. And they came around to me. I'm like, I'm going to take a hard pass. I was making like 3 times what they were.
Okay.
Out of college, because I had my own business.
What were you doing back then?
I was doing the moving business.
Okay.
So when I graduated, the offers I got from the banks in New York was like a third of what I was making, like part-time as a mover.
Wow.
Because I had my own company, because I did the same thing. I was 10, started shining shoes. Then at 13, we started doing landscaping. We bought and sold cars, boats, motorcycles. We had like Corvettes, Jags, like the E-types.
Yeah.
And so I saved my money so that I could buy more and more trucks. So by the time I was 18, I had 3 trucks. I had a 20-foot truck. I had like an 18-foot pickup truck, and then I was doing the moves, but I had paid for that cash, so I didn't have any debt. And then, but yeah, I was like, I took a hard pass, and I was like, I was making 3. I didn't realize. Do you know what I mean? But I was living like, and I was saving 80% of what I living in a $200 a month apartment that I ran my business out of.
Wow.
Golf diesel, 50 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
Nothing. And
just stacking cash, reinvesting.
Cash. Opportunity came up because here, to be in the moving business, you need a license.
Okay.
And you could get a license for just Philadelphia, which means you could move people in or out of Philly. That was a certain price. Then you could get one for Bucks County or Montgomery County. Then there was a diamond certificate. They were only like 25 or 50. Super expensive. Rarely came up. One came up because I was down in Baltimore because we couldn't operate here because we couldn't get a license. They were possible to get. One came up. It was a chunk of change. And so my brother's like, hey, there's a diamond certificate up for sale. I'm like, I'll buy it.
How much was it?
Cash down. Back then, I think it was like $35,000.
Okay, wow.
Which this was, I mean, inflation. Now, this is when, when you could buy $1 million house for probably 200 grand.
Wow.
Right. Right. This is back in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. We were able to jump on that and because it's hard to borrow against. Right. So, and I just had cash. And so I just kept paying cash for trucks, And so by the end of 5 years, instead of $500,000 in debt, I had zero debt.
Wow.
And then just, it allows you to expand your opportunities. And then as you buy assets, your borrowing power expands versus buying a personal home. Like I didn't buy a house until I was 30, 37. I bought this building when I was 36.
Okay.
I put 50% down, and then I bought my house a year later, a percent down on that.
Wow.
When I was 36 and 37. And then I was done after. Anyway, but if I hadn't saved, I wouldn't be in a position borrowing power wise or cash to be able to do that.
100%.
That made all the difference.
Right.
Where I was seeing my friends just like, boom, as soon as they bought a house, out of deal.
Financing the nice cars coming out of college, going to the bars and partying, it's good to do some of that, but you got to definitely limit it.